Hey everybody, welcome back to another recap of 90 Day Fiancé Love in Paradise. We have been away from YouTube for quite some time, and it's good to be back.
Yeah.
We have a brand new season of 90 Day. And remember, we only cover this season and 90 Day the other way because you get all that stuffy American, they just want a green card shit out the way with these seasons, you know?
Yeah.
Although I will say, Miss with the Bob who went to Egypt, I forget what season that was. Last season, they're on Happily Ever After, I think.
And Haish, yes,
and they are struggling in Los Angeles. Okay,
I know they are because she's sad everywhere globally.
Yeah,
and he's whatever he is all the time. So
yeah, I'm waiting for him to come out as non-binary. Because,
all right. Well, so
that's what happens when you move to Los Angeles.
So we're back with another season, episodes 1 and 2. Where do you want to begin?
Let's start with Madelein and Luke. I do not have a name for any of these couples yet because even though it's 2 episodes, there's a lot to process with all of these couples.
Statutory is what I'm just going to call them for now.
Yeah, because I first was like, oh, marrying millions until I realized there's no millions.
No, there's no millions. There was a couple of thousands, and then Papa made some very poor business decisions. But first and foremost, to get out of the way, Madelein is 19 years old.
Barely.
Right, from Medellin, Colombia. And Luke is 30 years old.
Okay, because I wasn't sure what his age was. I knew it was nowhere near her age.
No, he's 30. And I just... Now... After watching him for a while, I realized...
He's not... Mentally, they're about the same age.
Yes, they are. Especially when he started listing off those investments. But also, there's just something off to me about a 19-year-old and a 30-year-old. And anyway...
That means she had just turned 18 when they started talking, honestly.
That's statutory.
Yeah. All right. I'll call him statutory. So Madelein is a city girl. She likes the finer things in life. She just got her tits done. She loves fashion. She did a tour of her closet. Is nothing but the finest of Fashion Nova and Shein.
It's Charlotte Russe in 579 threw up. It's a dream.
Yeah. Her and Luke have been together for about a year and they're engaged. She got her titties done. They are, I don't know when she got them because it feels like they're
9
super
months
swollen.
ago.
Oh, well, maybe they just don't fit her because she has such a petite frame.
She's so little.
Yeah.
And I'm glad she didn't go any bigger. It's not like she doesn't look like she's going to topple over, but I mean, they are titties that were done.
Yes. I was like, they're done. They're done.
Okay.
Yeah. So she lets us know that Luke pays all the bills. And she's loving life and she lives like a queen. He pays for her apartment, which is beautiful. She doesn't have to worry about a thing.
No, luxury high rise. He bought her a little dog because every bitch like that needs a little dog. I say that lovingly. She loves rhinestones. In the era of these children, she wears flashy going out tops with cargo pants. She's into the now. A young girl living the high life.
Yeah, she's a Brazilian Bratz doll, and I low-key stan her a bit.
That's exactly what she is.
I was like, you know what? She's 19. She doesn't have to be serious. So, like...
I was like, imagine me at 18 to 19 years old, and a nigga paid for my apartment, and all I had to do was just be. I, too, would be cuddling with teddy bears on the floor.
Exactly. I'd be ridiculous as
Absolutely.
fuck. So then we meet Luke. Luke, I'm going to say Madeleine is very pretty. She's a cute girl. She's cute. Luke is not. Luke looks like he permanently eats SpaghettiOs and never wipes the corners of his mouth.
Luke.
You know who he looked like? He looks like that's a cold ass honky. What Macklemore.
Yeah, he does. Same haircut.
Same flashy, weird style.
Yeah. He does look like Macklemore. That's what the Brazilian Bratz doll and Macklemore, a.k.a.
Macklemore.
Statutory.
Yeah. He's a mining engineer. I never thought about this as a profession, but that makes a lot of sense to me. And, Oh, my note says, I called him a Straggit, but that's, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I will just say, yeah.
Because my note said girls, but I know I can't be toxic and say that all the time.
No, and he's not giving me fluid in that way. He's just LA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like the tackiest of the white
Macklemore. Cold ass honky.
And it's not even really tacky. It's just flashier than your average white. So
yes, flashier than your average white. Yeah. Like he wears minks in like the summertime in Los Angeles, and it's like, why?
I was wondering why this nigga had a fur on in LA. I didn't know what month. I said, I don't think there's a month that exists where this is appropriate.
No, not ever. No, even with global boiling, it's still not. No, not at all. So he got her name tatted on his bikini line, which I thought, I was like, oh, okay.
It was very Drake of him.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're a bird too. That's cool.
He loves Drake.
Oh yes. He's a Drake, and I know he listens to like what do white boys listen to? Logic. Yeah, that's their kind.
And what's the other one that Cardi did the song with?
I don't know.
Easy Street.
Oh, G-Easy.
There we go.
G-Easy.
Yeah,
not Geezy, but G-Easy. Yeah. Yes. He was making oodles and oodles of money as a mining engineer, but his financial situation took a dramatic turn.
At his own, it was his own demise.
Yeah. And he can't tell her that he's broke now because he's afraid that she'll leave. And essentially, he got fired.
Yep.
Because he was taking too much time off to see Madeleine in Colombia.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we all had jobs where you got to make sure you have your vacation time in, bro. Like,
especially if you're funding two flashy lifestyles.
Yes.
I mean, two households, like...
Because I can't imagine... People always want to say other countries, it's cheaper to live in another country, but I don't believe that's true. I believe that he's playing maybe a little bit less of what he's doing here in Los Angeles.
But he's already spent at least $100K in bills and her living expenses and all of that. And so that's not cheap. Right.
So he is he meets up with his homeboy at a car wash because he has to return the truck that he got from his job. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is relatable content. I know so many people who got to return their shit from their job.
Computers, vehicles.
And his homeboy is like, so, I mean, okay, so you know, yeah, you got fired or whatever, but do you have like a savings? Like, do you have like what's the tea? And he was like, I have no money. And reason why is that he has invested $500,000 in various businesses, but has yet to turn a profit. And when I tell you, he also lives like Lynn from Girlfriends.
Yep.
Like he is invested in his own travel and lifestyle brand, a clothing company, energy drink, I think he says. I don't know, something else. Like it was so many random things, right? I was so surprised he didn't say crypto.
I'm surprised as well, actually, but maybe crypto might be too smart based off of the things that he did say. He also liquidated his entire 401k. As he's leaving this job, and he's a self-proclaimed people pleaser. So that's where I was like, okay, there's some deep insecurity here. I don't know what happened in your childhood, but there's some deep insecurity here. This stems from somewhere. Now, the other thing that we find out too, might as well meld it all together. Not only did he liquidate his entire 401k, invest poorly into multiple things, turn $0 of a profit, lost money, lost his job, lost his company vehicle, and if he was not smart the way that I think he was, he definitely didn't buy himself a personal vehicle with all of this. So now he ain't got no car, and he is living in his mother's basement now.
In her ADU, additional dwelling unit.
Yep.
So like his homeboy is like, so what is she providing? Is she providing anything financially? Like, and he's like, well, you know,
no.
And not so many words, no. And, you know, the other big issue is that Madeleine is actually really in love with him and likes him. And she's really excited for him to move to Colombia. And he told her that this next trip is his permanent move.
Yeah.
However, he cannot move until he gets his finances together. And who knows how long that will take.
Based off of what he's done here, y'all are going to break up. But even though she is seemingly in love with him as well.
Yeah, she's in love with him as long as the money's there.
It is conditional. And he said that himself. He recognizes that this is conditional. He's like, she hasn't really contributed, and his biggest fear is whether or not she's going to stick around after she learns the truth of his new financial situation.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm glad he is realistic about that, you know?
She's also a Rubik's Cube champion.
Yeah.
Smart gal. Just found that to be an interesting tidbit.
Right. So he gets to Colombia, and he even speaks to her in a weird Portuguese accent.
Yeah, he does.
Even in English.
Yeah, but white people be doing that.
Yeah, I was immediately taken to when Lindsay Lohan was talking to that lady when she tried to kidnap her baby.
Please. Yeah. Come, do you want a home? Come, do you want a home? You want a home?
Yeah, I'm like, that's not the language that they speak, bro.
Not at all. Like, bitch, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have this, you know, very showy display of affection in the airport, and you know, she's got balloons and print out pictures of them, and hold on. I told her I was recording. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, she got balloons and pictures, and like, she's excited he's coming, but she's excited that her rich man is coming. So,
yeah, and I'd be excited too. You know, I love you, Big Papa.
But, yeah.
But that was them. Let's move on to Annie and Kyle. I don't have a name for them yet. Maybe Girl Run and Ew.
So I will say that Ethan Embry from Can't Hardly Wait, and he was in Can't Hardly Wait. He was the one who was trying to get Jennifer Love Hewitt, and then he's also the son from Grace and Frankie.
Oh yes.
He looks like a weird version of him, and Tristan called it because when I was watching this, they showed a couple of his pictures, due to his travels that we'll talk about in a second, and so Tristan was like, as soon as he saw the pose in one of the pictures, he goes, "Why is he standing like that?" No, he's a weirdo, and I was like, I'm very good for such observations, but the picture went by so quick that I didn't even realize it. And we found out about 2 minutes later that he was exactly spot the fuck on.
Yeah, that nigga's a weirdo. He makes Paul from Paul and Carini look like Elvis.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's start with Ani. So Ani is a 39-year-old woman, and she is originally from Germany. And, during the pandemic, she was like, I'm trying to be a hot girl, and I don't want to be locked down in Germany where it's cold and lonely. And so I'm going to move where it's warm because I don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown because the world was uncertain then. So her and her son moved to Malta. Not to be confused with the drink. And so her son is 6 years old, who looks exactly like her. And, they're just living life and stuff. But while during lockdown, she realized that she wanted another baby. And, she's 39, and so her bio clock is ticking, as she says, right? Yeah. And so in the midst of this, 7 months ago, she met Kyle. Now, listen to the story, because it's complicated and not at the same time. So Kyle lives nowhere. He is a digital nomad.
Technically, LA is his home base, but yes, he lives nowhere.
Yeah, he can live anywhere because he's an accountant. So he has a good job. However, he has a very interesting hobby. Sperm donation.
He said, my favorite things to do when I travel are, get souvenirs, eat local cuisine, and get women pregnant. Yeah.
He has about 77 children and 9 on the way across, this great earth of ours.
What does his sperm count look like, you ask? Apparently, the average sperm count is 44 million per milliliter. He has a sperm count of 242 million per milliliter.
Yeah, he is. There's a bunch of odd-looking weirdos out there.
Yeah. With his same mannerisms.
Yes. And, he pulled out a map like fucking Rand McNally and started like marking off where every place he has children. Yeah. And technically they're not his children. Biologically, yes. But it all started when he wanted to help his sister, I believe that's what it was.
A lesbian couple.
A lesbian couple who wanted to have a baby. And of course he was like, I'll oblige. And he saw how happy it made them that he wanted to help other couples. Now, personally, like that story sounds all well and good.
Yeah.
But this would be also different if you were going to a bank and donating.
Where there are also safety precautions and vetting and all kinds of things that have to be done before you're chosen for this. Now, granted, these people so he's it's spread by word of mouth. After he helped the lesbian couple, spread by word of mouth and social media, and then tons of single women, couples who couldn't conceive and so forth started hitting him up, and now he travels extensively to do this. He funds it himself. He doesn't charge money for it. Like, this is what brings him joy, and this fulfills his purpose.
Yeah.
The issue that I have is safety. That's the first thing I thought about, especially when he broke down exactly his different methods. He's doing.
So, yeah, it was like Gilead all over again.
Literally, I said Handmaid's Tale. So there are two options. There's artificial insemination, in which he beats off in a cup and they use a syringe and insert the nut inside. And
Turkey
then
baster.
Yes. And then there is the intercourse insemination, in which he fucks them. And then he has a method where they hang off the bed. He holds their legs up in the air 10, 15 minutes, let the nut permeate, and then pulls out. Not anywhere did he mention testing betwixt. So you jump, and he said he does 3 to 5 per month. So you have to be, you're going up in them raw because this is for a specific purpose. And back to back, 3 to 5 times a month is about once a week. And you just nutting back to back and rawing people back to back. Do you all have safety protocols? Do you have paperwork set up in the event that somebody gives somebody something? Like, what happens if you come across the wrong person who has the wrong intentions, and then you go spreading that? Like, this is just, it's unsafe and it's lawless is what it is.
And I gotta be honest, I know people who are desperate to have children. I think that's weird, but hey, to each his own.
Whatever brings you what you need, you know?
But I also, outside of testing like sex STIs and stuff like that, but like watching his brain or watching him, maneuver throughout the world, especially with Annie, I'm like, do these people know the type of person that he is? Because this is going to be genetic and past his weird idiosyncrasies. I don't want to say what I think he got.
Same, but we, we hear. And listen, there's nothing wrong with, but you need to vet to see if that's what you want to be producing with.
Right, that's the whole purpose of the sperm bank. And he explains that sperm banks are expensive and all that good stuff. Yeah, I get that. However, there are protocols and vetting, that takes place to ensure that there's safety for everyone. And for everybody. You.
Yep. The child, everybody. And then it's also strange to me because when people go to sperm banks, they understand that they are donating. This man is referring to all of these children as his children. And he's already told us that a lot of times he's helping other couples or like, these people are not choosing to raise a child with you.
No.
So his viewpoint just seems skewed to me.
It's weird. It took me back to that, those cults where
I thought you were thinking who's your daddy or whatever.
What's that? Remember, you made me watch something, or we watched something on here where the nigga fathered like.
That's what I'm saying. The Who's Your Daddy documentary, the whatever the shit was called, the nigga who owned the sperm bank, the doctor.
Yeah.
No. The fertility doctor who was replacing his people's sperm with his own.
Yes, because he felt that his was superior. He needed to replenish the earth with his seed or whatever.
Speaking of which, also notice this month, because that that Who's Your Daddy Doctor, that one there was only doing it with white women and white women of a particular ilk. It was real Hitler light, you know what I'm saying? This, notice this little strange bird. It said all of the places in Europe that he has conceived. I mean, he has donated. Asia, Mexico. He said Tijuana though. And that leads me to believe it might be an American who crossed the border. But notice he didn't say shit about Africa. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, between me and
nope, same also. It's like them dusty niggas who date, you know. Yes, we're here. Yes.
Yeah.
We don't need that, but also
no. But in general, like I've never seen like even an adoption like things, you know what I mean? Like it's even very rare for a black foster parent to take in white children. Like
I've seen it, but it is more
rare.
Yeah,
I've seen it, but it's rarer than the other way around. So I can't imagine. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but Anyway,
I got thoughts that don't belong on the internet. So
yeah, same. Especially not on YouTube, right? So he says to us that he's only been on 2 dates in 10 years because women can't get jiggy with the fact that, you know, he donates his sperm. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why Annie got in contact with him is because she wanted to, you know, receive a donation from him. And when they started talking, they realized that, oh, well, maybe we have something going on, you know? And
we got something in common.
Yeah. And so, you know, they've been kicking it online for about 7 months or whatever, and they enjoy each other's company online or whatever, and then they try to make it work, right? So, it's meeting day. And he's flying to Malta.
Which was never on my list to visit, but now it is.
Now it is.
Okay.
Yes. I was like, this is fabulous. I need to go.
Her little kitchen, I was like, girl.
The backsplash, it was so cute.
You know that backsplash was calling my name.
I was like,
you're just living in the Mediterranean Sea. Like, and you know the food is good. She's between Italy and Libya. Like, nigga.
Fresh food.
Fresca.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, you know, he's like super emotional in the confessional. Like he's really into her, and he's quite surprised that a woman like her is into him, and he's trying to take it all in, and so am I.
Yeah.
Because you think she kind of has it going on, and he doesn't. But whatever. Like he looks like a character from Dilbert. Like it's so weird. But anywho,
he real doofy. Like he really doofy.
Like standard issued white man.
Yeah.
Like default. Right?
Not even. He's like standard issue weird white man. Like
yeah.
He just
like if you were to tell me he was on somebody's registry, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? Right. So anywho, he gets off the plane and he's wearing blue t-shirt and gray shorts. Very important to the story.
Yeah.
You know, they hug and greet each other. And he tells her, "You have to earn my loving."
Oh, God.
So he has developed a point system. Now, I wish he would have explained this better, because he explains in the confessional a lot better. He was like, I want to build an emotional connection. So I don't want to like have sex too early or ruin, you know, what we got going on. I understand that part.
No, I understand that part, but that was only said then for that moment and was not reiterated again.
And it was never to her either. It was to us. He tells her that she has to earn his loving via a point system. So if she earns 10 points, that means they can do it. Like, bone, right? Mm-hmm. But, points, he'll earn points based off of like if she eats right, if she doesn't smoke cigarettes,
if she doesn't have a drink.
Yes, if she doesn't have a drink or anything like that.
If she has a drink, it's a point loss. Yes. If she has a cigarette, points loss. But if she doesn't do those things, points gained. And he keeps reiterating that it is to earn his love. He says this to her multiple times.
And she tells him point blank at the gate, like, this is stupid.
Fuck out of here, nigga.
Like, this is dumb, and you need to get over yourself, right? So she ends up taking him to an Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Now, good. I agreed with this wholeheartedly. Yep, I was same. Like, at first she was a little confused, but I was like, no, girl, this is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. You get to go home at the end of the night and decompress because you will soon find out that you need to. Right.
Now, he has a lot of quirks. Let's go with that, right? Yeah. Like, he doesn't like sharing the same bathroom as other people. Same. He's very particular about how he sleeps. He doesn't like sleeping with other people. But this is also a product of him being alone and single for 10 years or I want to say pretty much all his life because I doubt that he's been in a real relationship.
Yeah, or had really deep, meaningful friendships.
Right. So she drops him off at his crib. Mm-hmm. And she's like, dinner at 8, blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to see you, blah, blah, blah. He goes in, checks out the Airbnb, drops off his knapsack because he doesn't come with a suitcase. He comes with his Herschel bag. Yep. And
his Fly Me to the Moon or whatever that one is. I keep getting ads for.
Oh yes.
Moon Monkey or something.
Moon, yes. The
colorful
see it, yeah.
shits. Mm-hmm.
So he just takes everything out of his backpack and puts it in a cubby, and then he's like, "All right, well, I'm ready to go on a date."
He don't brush his teeth. He don't wash his hands. Mind you, this man has traveled to Malta. Don't brush his teeth. Don't wash his hands. Don't wipe his butt. He don't wipe his neck off. He don't splash his face. He don't use his finger to get the crust out of his eyes.
Yeah. Now, I don't, as much as critical as we are about America and the people that run it, I was very offended.
Let me tell you something. I was offended 932 times, okay? I cannot help the fact that my family was brought here on boats during the transatlantic slave trade, okay? So this is the land that I was raised on for generations.
But you're not going to lie on this soil, nigga.
I'm like, lie number one. He gets to the restaurant. And he's wearing them Old Navy shorts and that same U-neck ass musty t-shirt. And she is disgusted.
Oh, she is burning on the inside.
And I like the fact that she is vocal and direct. She's like, this is disrespectful. Like you couldn't even change your clothes. This is disrespectful. You just come like that. Here he goes. Americans don't believe in all. We're just real casual. We just, come as you are. You look like an unkempt vagrant.
Yes.
And you stink like the airplane. And he keeps putting it on Americans as a whole. That is our culture, that we don't give a fuck. And so we show up on some outlaw mud show shit. Amazing term.
Shout out to Jim Cornette.
Shout out to Jim Cornette. So she's like, ugh. Then they order all of this very delicious looking food. Okay, I know that food was fresh as fuck.
I know.
I said I know it needed a little salt and pepper, but I know it was fresh. The salt would have just gave it the pop that it needed, amplified the natural flavors. Sorry, I digress. I was all into it.
Oh, yes.
And they ordered. Okay, I was like, yes, we try everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this motherfucker was eating like Wilbur the whole fucking time, shoveling food in his mouth and putting his face to the plate like it's a trough. I was disgusted, and so was she.
And went back to say Americans don't have table manners. Europeans go to etiquette school and things of that nature. That's just not something that we do.
It's like you all are all stush and bougie, and we don't do all of that. Like we do not all eat like we are farm fucking animals. You musty rat. I was so irritated. Like I was like, rarely do I hold this title like that. But I was very fucking irritated because this is the reason why we go places. This is among a few. We already got issues. We already got problems that actually belong to us. Don't put shit on us. That's your terrible habits. Like,
don't add insult to motherfucking injury.
Okay, the passport is losing value as we speak. Like we are, and rightfully so. But it is monkeys like you that fucking run around this earth and make us look even worse than what we already do to ourselves.
Yeah. And then it gets worse.
Yeah.
Because then he's looking at her nails. And he's like, oh, you have the right length of nails. And I was like, oh, no diddy. And then, which is a term. Have you heard the Gucci Mane's new song?
You know, I'm having I've been talking to my therapist about my fluctuating relationship with Ray Drake. You know, ever since he got with that Keisha Kaur, something's not been right in my spirit, and I just, you know, I'm battling with that. You know, as a Gucci evangelist of the founding, church, I feel very conflicted about this, but I say all that to say no.
The Church of Guwap.
Yeah.
It's the streets are saying
tell
that,
me.
you know, that the new term on the streets is no diddy as opposed to like no homo or pause.
Okay. Of all the things we're gonna target, things, that's what y'all pick.
Yeah, but like so when
the nigga's a murderer,
song,
and y'all
he blew up niggas like cars in their driveway. That's crazy, and trafficking like women for sex and drugs and alcohol. But you all want to focus on him and his
and abusing women and paying off all of hotel staff, right? But him and Meek Mill, that's the most salacious thing to come out of all of this. Never mind him murdering 17 niggas in a row. Like what? Anywho, tell me about the young people.
Oh yeah, so in the Guwap song, you know, every other line is no diddy. Like blah 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 no diddy. Blah 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 no diddy. Blah 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 no diddy. And I was like, you know, hey, homophobia wins again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it always does.
Yeah. But back to weird shit, though.
Yeah.
He likes his back scratch like the otter that he is. And apparently, like her fingernails are long enough to act, you know, in proper fashion for his back scratching.
Now here's the thing. There is something euphoric about back scratches. I will say that. Mm-hmm. Me and Tristan actually like make it a moment, right, nigga? We wrap our arms around each other and get it like, and it just releases like a certain level of stress and tension from your day, and it just feels so good. But the way in which he was directing her on what he said back scratches are a requirement.
And you know where that took me back to, right? Quiet on the Set.
I thought you were thinking under his eye. Because I was like, of Kyle is getting on my fucking nerves. And I want her to get rid of him. Between this intercourse insemination and this requirement, I was like,
off Kyle. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh, this is real Dan Schneider type. Like, this is weird. Like, you requesting weird shit, and I don't even know you niggas. So like,
not for you to be like me telling you break it down what all my requirements about the way you need to do this, and not once did you offer to scratch her back.
And you want me to do all this, and I can't drink a glass of wine?
Like, nigga, I lose point. I can't fuck.
And to be honest, she don't need to fuck him.
No, I don't want her to have a baby with him. She's got
me either.
Decent enough sense. So I want her to not, because,
Well, he could present a very different way online.
I'm sure.
Because she was very gagged with all this.
And she did say he did present much differently online than he is in person. So I know that is a thing. Howsoever. Mm-hmm. And I also understand that it is very expensive to do this. But there's just still something that is ever so slightly off about you considering a nigga off the internet. Like, there's just something. So she has most of her ducks in a row, but I'm still like, we cannot forget this.
Yeah.
I don't care how he presented.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was them, honestly.
Oh, hold on. No. Also, outside of the back scratches, he told her a requirement for the following day when they meet up is she needs to pull her hair in a ponytail.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
No diddy.
And she still... Now, that is an appropriate no diddy. And she said, even though she's disgusted, even though she is really cautious now, she's still ever so slightly intrigued to continue to want to figure out what it was that originally attracted her to him.
Maybe she's intrigued or trying to figure this out because she's trying to heal her inner child so that she don't do this shit again. Like, sometimes you gotta lose to win again.
Yeah, girl, you already have a 6-year-old son.
Yeah.
Who seems way more well-adjusted than what this nigga... This nigga shoved his fucking plate in his face.
It was literally, y'all, like this.
And was shoving the food in his mouth.
Like it was what they like stereotypical prison like eating.
No, nigga, it was stereotypical pig. That was literal farm animal behavior.
Yeah.
But yes,
yeah.
I had to mention that ponytail because that seized my vagina locked up. Like it grew teeth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's go with I want to end with Shawn and Alliya.
Okay.
Because that's going to take some time to parse through. Yeah. So let's move on to Alex and Adriano.
Yes.
Esteemed black woman and romance novel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not gonna hold you. It's rare that I find white men or spicy white men attractive, but Adriano is a little on the attractive. He's an attractive white man.
He had some angles at some points where I was like, maybe on vacation.
Yeah, I was like,
wouldn't take it past that, but maybe on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. On a nice trip, you know.
I never have before.
Like a group bag. Yeah. So Alex is a 30-year-old black woman. Is very important to the story. And I loved everything about her, honestly. She is a marriage and family therapist.
Yeah.
She does very esteemed black woman things. She has like that silk top thing and those pants things that, esteemed women wear at work. You know that outfit, like it's like a swoop and a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's a huge family person. I loved her family. Like she's kicking it with her auntie and her cousins and sister. They went to Walmart and they're having a proper seafood boil, I believe. That's what they made.
They said they were making gumbo, and I don't know. I'm not going to jump out the window and say it wasn't good.
Oh, they were making jambalaya. I wrote it down. They were making.
They said gumbo.
She's cooking. Oh, then why did I write jambalaya?
I don't know, but also they pulled out that Pepperidge Farm sausage, and I was like, nope, that's not.
Oh, well, they all went to Walmart. Times is hard. They didn't have time to go down to wherever to get boudin or wherever.
And it might be they might be a world famous cooking family. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know.
Oh, I hope not. And because she is very into her job and all that good stuff, so she's big on traveling, and she's big on traveling by herself, which is very commendable. And so she's fearless, and so. One time last year in Italy, south of Italy, she happened to just randomly go on a dating app just to see, what's going on with the goings on. And on the last day, she met Adriano. Now, my note says I know he's rocking her world.
Oh, baby, he fucked her ass across Napoli, like.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I get it, queen.
He fucked her on the veranda. He fucked her on the credenza. He fucked her in the gondola.
Yes.
He fucked her
He rocked her mundo.
Yeah,
I know
he did. He did.
So, they've only spent like 10 days together in person, but, they realize that they really love each other and they really want to spend the rest of their lives with one another. So while she's cooking this version of Creole dish that whatever they're making with her family, they get into her business, right? And so she tells them that his issue is that, and of course, I always look for a buy-in. I'm like, what's my buy-in here? Like, why am I watching this? And then I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
She was like, well, he keeps wanting to bring other women into the bedroom. But this is a consistent thing that he wants to do.
Yeah.
So she explains to us and her family that she has had threesomes in the past because in the past she wanted to explore her sexuality, to be like, hey,
I appreciated their open conversation.
Me too. Or she was
the communication, whatever.
Yeah, she was explaining, like, hey, maybe this might be something I'm into. I don't know. I want to dabble and see. And then she realized, ooh, strictly dickly,
And she didn't want to be sharing all that energy either anymore. She's like, threesome's not for me. That's all right.
Also, probably, this is for young people. I'm 30 now. I'm ready to sit down.
Because who got the energy for all of that?
Right. Right.
Somebody.
That's a young person's game.
There's an old nigga watching this right now talking about, speak for yourself.
Oh, I'm sure. But it has they've had heated debates over this threesome thing because he's very adamant about having them. And they have broken up twice over this threesome conundrum.
Yep.
So we then talked to Adriano. He lives in South Italy near the Amalfi Coast. Beautiful weather, beautiful food, the building architecture, everything. I was like, I need to go to Malta and I need to go down to South Italy.
Yeah. Well, let's go on a 90-day tour. Jade and XD does 90-day the other way.
There's only so many countries we could go to.
Well, yes, but we'll go to Malta and we'll go to Napoli and we'll go to Colombia and we'll go to Brazil.
Okay, we could do that. Mm-hmm. Rio. We can't necessarily go to where did Carini live? Tocantins?
Yeah, no, we are not going to Tocantins.
Fun fact, that's where what's her name from SWV? Not Coco, but not Lily. Yes, that's the season of Survivor she was on, Survivor Tocantins.
Oh, you know what? We should watch that for Patreon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very great season, by the way.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
So this is the very first black woman he has ever dated, but he doesn't see color or whatever. And I can't imagine him to consider race in this scenario. I think he's
excited to cross cultures. He's excited to experience something new and someone new to, expose him to things that he hasn't been exposed to. And yeah.
Right. So, he's really excited to see her and he's big horny, right?
Boots.
Yeah. And so he links up with his friend Gaetano. Now, my first thought when I saw Gaetano was like, Gaetano looks like he wants to bone Adriano. But, let me not be judgmental. Asterisk.
I don't know.
Because that comes up later. So he's going to get, a shape up and stuff. And Gaetano was asking him, the questions that all the friends ask on this cast. Like, are you sure? Is she really into you? Bro, you can really do it? Blah, 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 blah. And, according to Adriano, she was with the threesome shit in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then she changed her mind. Mm-hmm. And, he explains that he's really into threesomes. He loves the idea of 3 people in one soul.
Yeah.
And, that's his jam.
Mm-hmm. I did it first at 28 and it never stopped. Now, I'm sure there was some freaky talk and on top of, them, because it's clear they fucked, from the get. So there probably was some freaky talk going on. And because I'm sure she didn't understand the extent to which he's into threesomes. And she's done it before. She seems pretty open. And so I'm sure it was like, yeah, we can do one. And didn't expect that, this was an expectation. This was going to be a thing. So... Right. I don't think she flipped the script on him. No. I think, and also she has the right to change her mind. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not feeling it. I'm JK.
Yeah, I don't feel like doing that no more.
I did some soul searching, and yeah, exactly. So Gaetano was like, so is it what kind of threesomes are you into? He was like, all girls and you, or is it another man and a girl? He was like, all women and me. Mm-hmm. And because he was like, well, if it's threesome that you were looking for, I could join.
I'm happy to be a third.
I was like, I knew it. New York knew it. I knew you wanted to fuck, sir.
He had, when they put the little, when they make the eyes,
Mm-hmm. 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 He wanted to ask Adriano, you got some dust in your eye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that was them. They, we'll see what happens next with them.
Yeah.
And lastly, oh boy, we have Shawn and Alliya. Mm-hmm. This is a complicated story. I thought when we had Gabe and his now ex-wife on
Of course, they're divorced.
I thought that was going to be complicated parsing through their dynamic, but this is a little bit more challenging.
No, absolutely, because their dynamic didn't have anything to do with any shifts or transitions or changes or anything in the midst of relationship. Like, it was understood from early on.
Yeah. So also, I was just taken aback by Shawn in general. I was like,
yeah, he looks like a caricature.
Yeah, he looks like he's a character like Phantom of the Opera. Like he looks. Yeah.
He got them Pat Sajak eyes and them Hollywood teeth where they like the real fake ones. And he's a celebrity hairstylist and absolutely made complete sense when he said that. So yeah, Shawn is something to gaze at.
Whew, yes. Shawn, we meet Shawn at a hair salon. He too is getting a color and getting full weave, I guess.
I was trying to understand that. I didn't understand.
I'm assuming it's just short pieces in the back. He might be thinning, and
I was going to say they gluing some tracks.
Yeah. So he's 61. He lives between Los Angeles and New York City. Like Jade said, he is a celebrity hairstylist, and we see all the people that he's worked with, all the celebs and things. And the object of his affection is Alliya. Alliya is bodied, okay? Mama is stacked.
Down.
And she is... she lives her life as a woman in Brazil. I don't necessarily know what she identifies as. We could say trans, but this is a little different. This is a little different situation, right? So I'll just say that Alliya is living her life as a woman. So
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing
Shawn
at the next
expresses to us that they met when Alliya was Douglas. He explains to us that about a year and change ago, they had went to Pride in Spain, and Douglas always was into like makeup and being very pretty, but never did drag or anything like that.
No.
And so at this Pride in Spain, Shawn encouraged Douglas at the time to, have you put on a wig, get done up and, fill your oats and all that good stuff. And Mama got in drag one time and realized this is the life for me.
This is who I am.
This is who I realized who I wanted to be. And so Shawn explains to us that he was married to a woman before, a cis woman before. And after that, he's been dating cis men exclusively since then. And so because Shawn doesn't live in Brazil, he feels like he's missing out on Alliya's transition or what this means for them, right? Like, has Alliya's personality changed? Because he's only really met Alliya a couple of times. He knows Douglas, right? And so he's very confused because he's unsure of where Douglas ends and Alliya begins, because Alliya has not made a declaration to him, to Shawn, that that Alliya is a woman now and she's who she's meant to be in this world.
Yeah.
Right. Shawn explains to us that, after he is very into a masculine physique. And he's not ready to give up Douglas. Like, he understands and has this idea that, that he is in love with this particular person, but he is in love with the person that he met and cultivated a relationship with.
Yes.
And he's also noticing that when they talk, that Alliya comes out and she's a little different.
Yeah, Alliya's a little more extroverted, and Douglas was very shy. And Alliya, is willing to dance in public and I can imagine that there is a level of freedom that comes along when you feel like you are now living, you are your truest self. And so, but this is complicated because Shawn is not expressing any transphobic rhetoric.
No.
It's more along the lines of, and I can imagine that's, I fell in love with this person. I've been with this person for a year and a half. And now I am trying to figure out what this means for me and means for our relationship, because you are a different person now. And so and then we meet Alliya, who
she's
is
very young.
Yeah.
Also.
So Shawn's 61, Alliya's 25. Again, not my favorite.
36-year age difference.
Not my favorite situation, but So they do seem to have a genuine connection.
I don't know.
They seem to love each other. Let me say that. Like, it doesn't seem like Alliya is around for money purposes. Like, I'm sure that is a perk, especially when Mama got to get to traveling and things like that. But it's less overt than like Madelein, who we are from earlier.
Yes.
So, so they seem to have this thing or whatever. So Alliya is very clear on who she is, and is very clear that she is now in a time in her life where she can't be bogged down by other people's concerns about her. She was raised by her grandparents, who are staunchly conservative Christians, and find homophobic. They find homosexuality to be a sin. Really, really damning things. And so she's felt suppressed for most of her childhood, and anytime she got ready to try to express something, it's something for your family to tell you constantly, you're going to hell. Like, you don't have a future because you're evil for who you are. And so now she's at a period in her life where she's like, I love Shawn very much. And that's one reason why I said it's less overt than Madelein, and like it may not all be about the money, because she's like, the most important thing to me is me being able to freely be myself. And if Shawn can't accept Alliya, then Shawn can't be in the picture, because this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, this is not just about money. I'm sure it's a perk, but her main goal is to be herself.
Yeah, and it should be, right? Like, I feel like this is a discovery, a journey of self-discovery, and I feel like if he wants to be on the ride, then so be it, right?
She said Alliya's not a character. Let's be clear. And I was like, very fair.
Yeah. This took me back to, and I know we don't like Caitlyn because she's evil Republican cunt.
Yeah,
but
it's for other, and also transphobic.
Yeah, which, self-hate is real.
Yeah, it is.
But this took me back to Keeping Up the Kardashians and what Kris Jenner was going through, and when her and Bruce got divorced, because she was like, it's not because I am phobic or anything. It's because you're not the same person that I fell in love with. This is a new person, which I'm encouraging you to be. And I love you for doing that. But I do have to grieve this relationship because Bruce is dead now, right? And I'm not coming back, and that's okay. But I have to mourn this because this is who I spent and cultivated a relationship with,
Yeah.
And so they ended up meeting at the airport. Shawn was unsure who he was going to meet at the airport. he does not know that Aliyah is full time. She's living her life as a woman completely.
Which led me to wonder. I was trying to figure out the 8-month period of them not seeing one another, because this is not the top of the pandemic by any means. So I don't know if he was like on some sort of set and they could not see each other. But I also wondered, how often are you all communicating if you are unsure of what stage of life Aliyah is in right now?
Aliyah also might have not been,
That's true,
that forthcoming because of fear.
That's
that
true.
She might lose somebody that she loves.
That's true. Yeah.
But no, it had to be. No, Shawn had to know, because when they had to get an apartment in Rio because everywhere else is trans and homophobic. But when he opened his suitcase, he brought her weave. So
that's what I'm saying.
Was very sweet.
I think he's just unsure. I didn't get the picture that he was unsure of who he was gonna meet. I think I got more of the picture of he was unsure of how much of Douglas would be present. Is this going to be dating a whole new person? Are there going to be traits of Douglas? I think it's more of the dynamic is what he was concerned about.
Right. But he bought her weave, and it was very sweet. And and Mama put that hair in like Regine Hunter
did
for dinner later that night.
A ponytail tonight, honey.
So they go to dinner, and he brings up this story, this example about this person named Gladys. And he was like, I know Gladys for 20 years. And all of a sudden she wanted to be called Gigi. And that was very difficult for him to adjust to, which I was like, this is weird. You just need to be direct and say.
I thought it was passive aggressive.
Yes, I was like, in the words of Keke Palmer, say what you say.
And he did it twice because... wrong time, I found. Right. The first time was when they were walking to the restaurant, and he's like, oh, you're just gonna wear those heels on the cobblestone streets? Like, that's not dangerous? And she was like, no, I'm used to it. And then they got to the restaurant. He did this Gladys Gigi story, and she was like, I know what you're doing, nigga. Like I see what you're doing. And the thing you just gonna have to. This is who I am. Like, Aliyah is here, and also while we're talking, there are more things that I would like to do in order to make Aliyah feel more comfortable, and that includes sculpting my body in a way that honors the femininity that I feel. And so
she wants the BBL.
She was a chubby kid. And then we see that Mama got into the gym and became almost bodybuilder status, and now wants to kind of take the fat from the middle that she has a hard time getting rid of still, and put it in the booty. She said, I want an ass. And she didn't ask him to pay for it. She just said, no. And she said, I'm free to do what I want to do with my body to make me feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And he kind of looked at her weird and white, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm very interested in this particular story. I don't know if they'll make it.
I don't either. Shawn, this is what I get from Shawn. I don't get transphobic, and I do understand the mourning period of falling in love with a person, and then they are no longer that person anymore. They are now someone else. And while that is that is not a fault, none of this is a negative thing. It's just a change, and it's something that you have to adjust to. And so my concern, but my thing, not my concern, but Shawn, he said constantly that this was not about gender or sexuality. This was about Douglas traits of Douglas being present in Aliyah. And I don't know if that's fully true, because while I know that gender and sexuality don't have anything to do with each other, with Shawn, even after I feel like after his divorce, Shawn was able to live a life that he wanted to live, right? Like, that says something, that he was married to this lady for 14 years, this lady for 14 years. And then I think Shawn got to a point where he was able to live, or felt comfortable enough to live freely. And so now I don't know if Shawn is attracted to women like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he prefers the masculine touch.
I do, and aesthetic, and
aesthetic.
he should say that, if that's how he feel. Like, he should say that. It doesn't mean you don't support Alliya, but I think you trying to convince yourself, and you keep saying I just want to see if Douglas is there. There were other things physically that you really like. Look at you. You are a vain. You are very into aesthetic. Like, these are important things to you. So I can imagine this is probably it's a change.
Yeah.
I did laugh at the beginning when he was getting his hair done, and the hairstylist was doing his hair, and he was talking about Alliya, and he was like, she's this, and he was like, she sounds perfect, but it was like, it was confusion.
He was like, girls.
He was confused. He was confused. I giggled at that. But yeah, I want Alliya, like, I love the way that she stood her ground, and she's very clear on what she wants, and she's very clear about her journey, and she's not willing to throw it, that let anybody throw it off, not even the person that she's in love with. And I love that she's getting to have that freedom, but I don't know if they are going to make it as a couple.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But that was them, y'all. First 2 episodes of 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way. We will be back every week here on the Tube of You.
Yes.
So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.